Let's get right into it. 12. The main character syndrome. Picture this. You're walking down the street and catch your reflection in a store window. For exactly 0.3 seconds, you're genuinely surprised to see yourself looking back, because your brain has been running a constant movie where you're the undisputed star, director, and audience all rolled into one. Every conversation, every scenario, every random daydream gets filtered through the lens of, "But what about me, though?" This isn't just vanity. It's called the spotlight effect, and it's your brain's way of making sure you survive. Back when humans were dodging saber-toothed tigers, being hyper-aware of how you appeared to others meant the difference between getting kicked out of the tribe and living to see another mammoth hunt. Your ancestors, who weren't constantly thinking, "How do I look right now?" probably didn't make it long enough to pass on their genes. The kicker? Everyone else is also the main character of their own internal Netflix series, which means you're probably just a background extra in their show. Your brain's been lying to you this whole time, convincing you that people notice every awkward thing you do when they're really just wondering if their own hair looks stupid. 11. The Ikea effect ego boost. Your brain has this adorable little quirk where it thinks anything you personally touched becomes instantly more valuable than identical things made by actual professionals. Build a wonky bookshelf from Ikea? Suddenly, it's better than furniture crafted by master carpenters. Write a mediocre poem? Shakespeare could never. Cook spaghetti without burning the kitchen down? Gordon Ramsay is shaking in his boots. Scientists call it the Ikea effect, and it's basically your brain's participation trophy system gone rogue. The moment you invest even the tiniest bit of effort into something, your psychological reward center starts throwing confetti and telling you you're basically a genius. It doesn't matter if your creation looks like it was assembled by a drunk toddler, your brain will find a way to convince you it's a masterpiece. This mental glitch exists because feeling proud of your work motivates you to keep trying new things, which historically helped humans innovate and survive. But now it just means you're weirdly attached to that lumpy ceramic mug you made in pottery class and genuinely believe it's superior to mass-produced perfection. 10. The better-than-average illusion. Here's something wild. If you ask a room full of people to rate their driving skills, 93% will claim they're above-average drivers. Mathematically, this is like saying most people are taller than most people. It's completely impossible, yet here we are. Your brain has somehow convinced you that you're special enough to defy basic statistics, and honestly, that's kind of impressive in its own delusional way. This extends to literally everything you do. Most people think they're funnier than average, better looking than average, smarter than average, and definitely better at judging who's better than average. It's like your brain hired a personal hype man who never takes a day off and has zero interest in objective reality. The psychological term is illusory superiority, but cosmic-level self-delusion works too. The really messed up part is this isn't even conscious arrogance. It's your brain's automatic defense mechanism against feeling like trash about yourself. If you accurately assessed your abilities compared to everyone else, you'd probably never leave your house again. So thanks, brain, for the confidence boost, even if it's built on a foundation of statistical impossibility. 9. The confirmation bias echo chamber. Your brain is basically a yes man in disguise, constantly scanning the world for evidence that proves you were right all along. Believe pineapple belongs on pizza? Suddenly, you'll notice every positive pineapple pizza review and conveniently forget about the ones calling it a crime against humanity. Think your ex was the worst? Your brain becomes a detective, collecting evidence of their terrible life choices while completely ignoring the part where they seem to be doing fine without you. This mental cherry-picking happens because your brain literally gets a dopamine hit every time it finds information that confirms what you already believe. It's like having an internal research assistant whose only job is to make you feel smart and justified even when you're objectively wrong about something. Your brain would rather maintain the illusion that you're always right than deal with the psychological discomfort of admitting you might have messed up. The evolutionary explanation is that confidence helped our ancestors make quick decisions in dangerous situations. But now, it just means you'll argue about Marvel movies like your life depends on it. Your brain has turned confirmation bias into an art form, and you're both the artist and the biggest fan. Number 8. The fundamental attribution error. When you cut someone off in traffic, it's because you're late for something important and clearly had no choice. When someone cuts you off, they're obviously a selfish maniac who probably kicks puppies for fun. Welcome to the fundamental attribution error, where your brain has two completely different rule books for judging behavior. One incredibly forgiving set for yourself, and one absolutely ruthless set for everyone else. This double standard works because your brain has access to all your internal motivations, circumstances, and justifications, but it can only see other people's actions from the outside. So when you're rude to a cashier, your brain knows you're having a rough day and didn't mean anything by it. When someone else is rude to a cashier, your brain assumes they're just a terrible person with no redeeming qualities whatsoever. The psychological term sounds fancy, but it's basically just your brain being the ultimate defense attorney for yourself while simultaneously serving as the harshest judge for everyone else. It's like having a personal PR team that works overtime to make sure you always come out looking like the reasonable one in any situation. Number 7. The Dunning-Kruger confidence boost. The less you actually know about something, the more confident your brain becomes that you're basically an expert. Watch one TikTok about quantum physics? Congratulations! You now feel qualified to debate Stephen Hawking. Take a first aid class 15 years ago? Your brain is convinced you could probably perform emergency surgery if needed. This backwards relationship between knowledge and confidence is called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it's your brain's way of making sure incompetence never gets in the way of having strong opinions. The cruel irony is that the more you actually learn about a subject, the more you realize how much you don't know, which makes you feel less confident. So the people who know the least are walking around feeling like geniuses, while actual experts are plagued with self-doubt. It's like your brain's confidence meter is installed backwards, and nobody bothered to check the wiring before shipping it out with your consciousness. This psychological glitch exists because overconfidence sometimes leads to taking risks that pay off, but mostly it just means the comments section of any YouTube video is filled with people who watched half the video and now consider themselves leading authorities on whatever topic was being discussed. Number 6. The self-serving bias reality filter. Your brain has this amazing ability to rewrite history in real time, making you the hero of every story and conveniently editing out the parts where you were definitely the problem. Got a promotion? Obviously, it's because you're incredibly talented and hardworking. Got passed over for a promotion? The system is clearly rigged. Your boss plays favorites, and the person who got it probably cheated somehow. Your brain is basically running a 24/7 propaganda campaign with you as the star. This mental revisionism extends to everything you do. When you succeed, it's because of your amazing skills, determination, and natural superiority. When you fail, it's because of bad luck, unfair circumstances, or other people sabotaging you. Your brain would rather twist reality into a pretzel than admit you might have just screwed something up through your own incompetence. The self-serving bias exists because feeling good about yourself motivates you to keep trying, but it also means you're walking around with a completely distorted view of your own capabilities. Basically, your brain has appointed itself as your personal biographer, and it's definitely not interested in writing an objective account. Number 5. The false consensus effect. Somehow, your brain has convinced itself that most people think exactly like you do, want the same things you want, and would make the same choices you make in any given situation. Like pineapple on pizza? Obviously, most reasonable people agree with you, and anyone who doesn't is probably just being contrarian. Hate horror movies? Clearly, most people with good taste feel the same way, and the horror movie industry only exists because of a vocal minority of weirdos. This happens because your brain uses itself as the default template for understanding other humans, which is like trying to understand the entire ocean by studying a single drop of water. You hang out with people who are roughly similar to you, consume media that aligns with your interests, and live in social bubbles that reinforce your worldview. So when your brain tries to guess what most people think, it just multiplies your own opinions by 7 billion. The false consensus effect makes you feel validated and normal, but it also means you're constantly shocked when other people have completely different perspectives. Your brain genuinely cannot compute why anyone would disagree with you about anything, because obviously your opinions are just objective facts that any rational person would reach. Number 4. The halo effect glow-up. Your brain has this weird habit of assuming that people who are good at one thing must be good at everything else, too. Attractive person? They're probably also smart, funny, and great at parallel parking. Successful businessman? Obviously, he'd make an excellent president, brain surgeon, and relationship advisor. Your brain takes one positive trait and uses it to paint an entire personality with a magical perfection brush. This mental shortcut happens because processing complex information about people is exhausting. So your brain just picks one obvious characteristic and extrapolates wildly from there. It's like your brain is running on the psychological equivalent of dial-up internet. It can only download one personality trait at a time, so it just copies and pastes that personality trait into every category it can think of. The halo effect explains why celebrities get paid millions to endorse products they've never used, and why that one attractive person from your high school probably has way more Instagram followers than they deserve. Your brain is basically a sucker for good first impressions, even when all available evidence suggests it should know better by now. Number 3. The availability heuristic fear factory. Your brain thinks shark attacks happen way more often than they actually do, simply because shark attack stories are memorable and dramatic, while person safely swims in ocean without incident never makes the news. This is your availability heuristic at work. Your brain judges how likely something is based on how easily you can remember examples of it happening, which is a terrible way to assess actual probability, but an excellent way to develop completely irrational fears. Plane crashes feel more dangerous than car accidents, even though you're statistically more likely to die driving to the airport than flying anywhere. Terrorist attacks feel like an everyday threat, even though you're more likely to be struck by lightning while holding a winning lottery ticket. Your brain has essentially outsourced all probability calculations to whatever made the biggest impression on you recently. This happens because dramatic, unusual events stick in your memory like mental superglue, while boring, normal events slide right through your consciousness without leaving a trace. So your brain's threat assessment system is basically being run by whatever was trending on Twitter last week, which explains why everyone's afraid of the wrong things. Number 2. The spotlight effect, stage fright. You walk into a room convinced that everyone immediately notices your weird hair, your slightly wrinkled shirt, and the fact that you clearly have no idea what you're doing with your life. Meanwhile, everyone else in that room is having the exact same panicked internal monologue about their own perceived flaws. It's like a room full of people all convinced they're being watched by an audience that doesn't actually exist. The spotlight effect makes you overestimate how much attention other people pay to your appearance, behavior, and mistakes by roughly 300%. You think everyone noticed when you tripped slightly while walking, but in reality, most people were too busy worrying about their own potential tripping to register yours. Your brain has convinced you that you're constantly performing on a stage, when really, you're just another background character in everyone else's personal drama. This psychological quirk exists because being aware of social judgment helped our ancestors avoid rejection from their tribes, but now it just means you spend way too much mental energy obsessing over whether people noticed you said "you too" when the waiter told you to enjoy your meal. Number 1. The fundamental attribution error, double standard. Here's the big one. Your brain has created the most sophisticated excuse-making machine in the known universe, but it only works for you. When you're late to work, it's because traffic was unexpectedly bad, your alarm didn't go off, and honestly, arriving exactly on time is kind of arbitrary anyway. When your coworker is late, they're clearly disorganized, disrespectful, and probably lack basic time management skills. Your brain has two completely different operating systems for explaining behavior, the understanding and nuanced version for yourself, and the harsh and judgmental version for literally everyone else. This isn't conscious hypocrisy, it's a built-in feature of human psychology. Your brain has access to all your internal thoughts, motivations, and circumstances, so it knows you're generally trying your best despite challenging conditions. But when it comes to other people, your brain can only see their actions from the outside, so it fills in the blanks with assumptions about their character. It's like having a defense attorney for yourself and a prosecutor for everyone else, both working in the same courtroom of your mind. The fundamental attribution error is the master key that unlocks our collective narcissism. We're all walking around convinced that our mistakes are situational, while everyone else's mistakes reveal their true character. Your brain has made you the most sympathetic protagonist in human history, while simultaneously casting everyone else as poorly motivated side characters who probably deserve whatever bad things happen to them. That's all for today. I'll be making more videos like this, so subscribe if you don't want to miss them.